I'm really happy to be here and talk about my career at Johnson. But a few things that I think really were very important in my life, in the school life, were the Peer Facilitator Program, Camp Olympia, Leadership Weekend, and the New School. Well, the Peer Facilitator Program was started actually in 1986 by Blair Duckworth, who was the previous head of Guidance Department. And then I got really involved with the program, and for about 30 years, that was a key program here at Monsignor Johnson. The peer facilitators were senior students who had at least to have a 75% average, and they had to have good discipline, good commitment, good dedication, and they really, at times, ran the school. They came from August to get ready for Camp Olympia, and then in July, they still were finishing with graduation, getting ready for the following Camp Olympia the following year. They were a very important group to the school, and they were involved in so many different activities. They were involved with orientation, graduation. They were involved with the outreach programs, helping the community in whatever way they could. And they really were a key part of what Johnson was about, heart speaking to heart, and one of our mottos was to serve with love. And that was really what their aim was, to try and really build community, develop friendships and relationships with the school communities, and then do whatever they could to help out with the programs. There's so many memorable moments with the peer facilitators, but I think Camp Olympia really stands out. We went to Camp Olympia for 25 times with the peer facilitators for the grade 9 orientation. And the idea of orientation was to really connect the grade 9 students to the peer facilitators and the school. And we did that for 25 times with the peer facilitators. We also went to Camp Olympia 25 times with the Leadership Weekend. And the peer facilitators were invited to come up and be involved in the leadership. The leadership program at Camp Olympia was started by Greg Rogers from Brebeuf, Rennie Jensen at JP2, and by me at Monsignor Johnson. And the idea initially was to help the peer facilitators get ready and be trained to whatever work they were going to do in the schools and for Camp Olympia. We started with 57 students from the 3 schools, and by the 25th anniversary, there were 4 weekends instead of 1, and there were over 1,000 students from elementary and the high schools. So pretty well, most of the high schools and so many elementary schools got involved with the whole leadership program. Grade 9 orientation began with the idea that we wanted to get the students involved in being part of the school community. And what was happening was that at that time, a number of students were concerned about going to high school because they were concerned about being bullied. And the idea of grade 9 orientation was to have a program for students where they felt comfortable being at the school, where they were involved with senior students who would be their big brothers and sisters, not only during grade 9, but throughout their years at high school. And later on, they were involved in tutoring and chaplaincy and whatever else the grade 9 students were involved. So that was the key idea, to help the grade 9s transition from grade 8 to grade 9 and become good citizens at Monsignor Johnson. The other thing that I want to mention with the peer facilitators and camp is that then what happened here at the school is we also started a leadership course. And the peer facilitators and all senior leaders were involved in participating in the course program at Monsignor Johnson, the GPP 301, and that was a credit program for them. Later on, it continued because there was a summer program that was offered at some schools, and the summer program was focused on youth. And what that program was involved is the student leaders going to all different schools and school communities, and they'll be involved in all kinds of programs, sports and crafts and everything else for all the students in the community. And the students would get a two-credit course for that, and they would also be paid. So it was a wonderful opportunity for students to continue their leadership. So if we look at the whole scenario then, we have student leadership being a focus, and Camp Olympia, Leadership Weekend, Focus on Youth, the credit courses, they all came together to develop what I thought was really strong leadership at school and school communities. And what's interesting with that is that a number of students who were involved in leadership later on became teachers and vice principals at our school. And the leadership continued in more ways than we anticipated earlier on. Well, what was happening with the Johnson was it was a very close-knit family feeling. However, the building was never really a high school. It was a junior high, a public junior high. And we did not have the facilities that we needed for sports. We only had 2 gyms, but there were 2 small gyms. And the number of the basketball games had been played at other schools. The field for soccer was not adequate, especially for senior soccer. The building itself, there were literally bricks falling down. There was a real sense of the porta pack. There was a fire one time, and it needed really upgrading, and we really were looking forward to that. So we were fortunate to have the experience of being able to get to a new school. Well, it took 2 years and 2 months, and it was a long process, and what it really required also, because we didn't know whether it was going to happen or not, it required the staff and the teachers and the parent group to get involved. Mrs. Bidnos was very instrumental with that, to really help get the board to understand that we really needed a new school, and it was really something that really could not be waiting. So we had to go to meetings at the board. We had to do all kinds of calling people and trying to get everything galvanized to make sure that they were on board and that the school would take place. Well, what was happening once we realized that we were going to get a new school, we started to look at the planning, how that was going to happen. And one of the first important things that was happening is we needed busing, because we were concerned that students from here to go to Regina Pacis would be a concern in terms of the location. So we were able to get busing for the students. We also had to look at what kind of school do we want to have built. And I was fortunate to be able to go with the administration at that time, to go to different schools in different areas and find out what the schools were that they had built, how they were, what kind of services they had, what kind of special areas they had. So we went to a number of schools, even out of the GTA, to find different ways of trying to be involved with the architects in having the new school built. And one of the things that was important was that we want to make sure that a number of the vegetation, the trees that were here already, as much as possible, we wanted them to stay as part of the new school building. So we were fortunate to be able to allow that to happen and to have that happen. Well, I remember it was 2005, October 31st, Halloween, and that was the day we all came in and said, "Hallelujah, it has finally happened. Wow, are you serious? We're going to be in this school, in this building?" That was a immediate, very happy, very unbelievable reaction to what we were experiencing. Especially also we were at Regina Pacis, which was also a building that needed a lot of rejuvenation. The only really the key defining event that I think that happened here in all those years, I've been there for 30 years, was the new school. That really became the focus, because part of the problem was that demographically, we knew there was a problem at this, in this area. There was always competition to try and to get students. And we were going around and being involved with all kinds of time and energy to try and sell the school. And we realized at one point that we had great leadership, great Camp Olympia, with attracting the students, great sports and great activities, but that really wasn't going to be enough in the long run. So the new school, which cost, I believe, about $26 million, was really a heaven sent, because that was the only way that the school was going to survive. And if we look at demographically what has happened, the other Catholic schools, high schools around here, have closed in the meantime. Bosco, Marion, and Pachas. So what happened was that once we got the new school, for the first time, we had a waiting list. And instead of going all over the GTA at times to try and get students here, we now were in a very favorable position of being able to have a waiting list and choose which students came to Johnson. And that also helped in the discipline and the whole environment of the school changed with the new school. I think what really has stood out for me all those years, having been here for about 30 years, was the sense of family that was in the school. The heart speak to heart motto that really seemed to emanate with the students' community. And the thing that this was a family, that we worked together, we're challenged together, but the relationships that were created from the school have lasted a lifetime. And my cherished memories, still in my dreams, are of students and faculty here connecting together in a sense of a family commitment and connection with the outside community as well.